Okay, so if you're looking at this on YouTube, I always say we have ladies in house, we have ladies on Zoom, and we are starting in Ezekiel chapter 41, and we'll see how far we go. We should at least get through 43. Shouldn't be an issue. And then at the end of the teaching, if you're watching it on YouTube, if you'll click more, it will give you a link to a video that goes with the teaching. So once you listen, click more, go in and watch the video. It'll be on there. It'll be on here as well. So, or if any of you need to go back and listen to something, you can get the video on there. But we're starting off with chapter 41. This is the millennial temple, right? We all get that this is the millennial temple. This is a temple that you and I are going to see. We are going to be ruling and reigning. The temple is for who?
It's for God. It's for Jesus. It's God's temple. He's going to stay there.
He is, but who's it for?
Oh,
the Jews.
No,
It's for the Jews. We right now are the temple of the living God. So a temple building wouldn't thrill us so much. We're the temple of the living God. We're going to have our eternal bodies. We're going to be ruling and reigning with Christ. And but remember, the Jews have not worshiped Messiah ever. And so what they're going to see and learn is that Jesus was Messiah from the get-go. They should have always been worshiping him. That everything that they ever did from the Old Testament all the way through was him. And they are going to be able to understand that in the way that they need to be shown, and that's through the temple. But we will be privy to see it. I'm assuming, we'll be able to be around, but we'll have our eternal bodies. It's going to be pretty cool.
This is not the third temple. It's after that.
You can say, it's some people say there are 5 temples because they count us being the temple of the living God. Yeah, that's a good question, though. The first temple, Solomon built. Right. And it was destroyed. And then the second temple, the guys were sent back from captivity, right? In Daniel. And they rebuilt the temple, put it back together. Then King Herod expanded it and remodeled and made it bigger and better. It's not so that's not a third temple. It's the same temple, but made bigger and remodeled.
The one Jesus used.
Herod's temple, yeah. And then the fourth one, if you want to count the Herod as the third, but it's remodeled. The fourth one would be the Antichrist, the one the Antichrist is going to be in. And then the millennial temple is Ezekiel's temple. That's that's the one that's going to be during the 1,000-year reign of Christ, and he's going to build it. So he might have some help. I mean, he might have people helping, but basically we saw that he did not let Ezekiel measure, because once you measure, that's saying it belongs to you. Therefore, the angel measures the temple.
Understand that.
Yeah,
it belongs to you.
Yeah, it's a Jewish thing. It's a biblical thing from back then. In their day, when it was a thing, when you go out and you measure something, you're claiming it as yours.
It's kind of like if you name something, it's yours.
Kind of like, yeah. And so Ezekiel was not to measure. If you noticed, Ezekiel was taking down the measurements, but only the angel was measuring. And but it's exciting. And to see what all is going on. But remember, the tribulation is for the salvation of the Jewish nation. Yeah. And then once they are all, they all know the Lord, they all know Messiah, then Messiah is going to 1,000-year reign, he's going to put this all together, right? And they're going to have a temple, a true temple, one in which Jesus Christ is Lord. And we are going to be doing, I don't know. Some people I saw, some pastors are claiming territory. If we're going to rule and reign, I got, so and so, and it's like, okay, I'll take San Diego Coronado. you know, Pastor JD claimed Hawaii to rule
What
over.
the thing was the second temple? The first?
When Zerubbabel, after the captivity, when Zerubbabel and them
okay.
go back, they rebuild the temple.
Yeah.
And Herod expands it and remodels it, but he doesn't. It's not a new one, but some people count it as one. And then the Romans, 70 AD, temple's gone, and the next one will be the one that's built with the Antichrist. And yeah, we don't want anything to do with that one. The millennial temple will not fit anywhere in Jerusalem, in Israel, as Israel is right now.
Right.
So all the temples they've made, and the one that they have plans on building, right now, they're getting all the stuff together, is not as big as the Millennial Temple. The Millennial Temple is a lot bigger, and it won't fit. So interesting stuff. But we've been looking at the temple. We've got the gateways, right? No, you've got the east one. That's the one that's going to be shut because
Jesus used it. God's going to use it.
yeah, and then it's shut. It's shut now, but that's because the Muslims did it, right? They think they could shut it, seal it, and put a cemetery in front of it, and so God can't get in. But yeah. But he's not going to use that one anyway. So, and he wouldn't stop the Lord. But just remember that God put all this in here because he wants us to know about it. And that's why it's a little hard sometimes to go through this, a lot of measurements and stuff. But but again, what we go through, once you stop and watch the videos after, it will just come to life and makes a lot of sense. And since we'll be there, we should know what's happening. I got this, Lord, I know I know what it is. So chapter 41, verse 1, and this is Ezekiel speaking, right? Talking about his divine guide. And then he brought me into the sanctuary and measured the doorposts, 6 cubits wide on one side, 6 cubits wide on the other side, the width of the tabernacle. The width of the entryway was 10 cubits, and the side walls of the entrance were 5 cubits on this side and 5 cubits on the other side. And he measured its length 40 cubits and its width 20 cubits. Also, verse 3, and this is important, the divine, went inside and measured the doorpost 2 cubits, and the entrance 6 cubits high, and the width of the entrance 7 cubits. He measured the length 20 and the width 20 beyond the sanctuary. And he said to me, this is for the most holy place. So because Ezekiel was also a priest, he could go into the sanctuary, the holy place, with his divine guide who's measuring. And the doorposts were about 10 feet wide, 10 feet wide on each side. That's not small. And the entryway maybe 15 by 60. So verse 3, Ezekiel did not follow him into the Holy of Holies to measure it. He could not, because he was not a high priest, but his angelic guide could go in. And that's what it says when he said he went inside in verse 3. That is the Holy of Holies. And so Ezekiel stayed out. And then verse 5, Next, he measured the wall of the temple, 6 cubits. The width of each side chamber all around the temple was 4 cubits on every side. The side chambers were 3 stories, one above the other, 30 chambers in each story. You can actually see that on this even, the 30, and then the over there by the temple, the buildings, 3-story buildings. But again, watch the video after, so it'll all come to life. There was an elevation all around the temple, and it was the foundation of the side chambers. The thickness of the outer wall of the side chambers, 5 cubits. And there was another terrace. And verse 10, and in between it and the wall chambers, there was 20 cubits all around. The doors of the side chambers opened onto the terrace. One door opened toward the north, another door towards the south, and the width of the terrace was 5 cubits all around. So as part of the temple, there were rooms. There were rooms and chambers, and they were on 3 different levels. Probably used to store things, like, you know, how the people had to bring their sacrifices in, and they would bring everything from animals to grains to whatever. And so some of these rooms would definitely be used for like storing, to be able to sacrifice. The walls of the temple were about 8 feet thick. That's pretty thick, you know. Verse 12, the building that faced the separating courtyard and at its western end was 70 cubits wide. The wall of the building was 5 cubits thick all around, and its length 90 cubits. So there was a building at the west end, so we know there was no gates, and it had thick walls, about 35 feet. And that's that building at the very back of, you know, back here is what he's talking about. And the chambers are over here and over here for the sacrifices, the altar being here. So they would clean and wash and bring the animal here to do the sacrifice. But the priest would have to have a place to stay and work and do what they had and cook, right? So the verse 13, so he measured the temple 100 cubits long, and the separating courtyard with the building and its walls was 100 cubits long. And then he talks about the width, and in verse 15, the west building, the length of the building behind it, that's the west building right up against the western wall back there. And he's talking about that it had galleries on one side and on the other, and how big it was. And he talks about their doorposts and the beveled window frames. It's interesting, the detail in this, as you look through there, even like, I think I mentioned that last Tuesday, where it was like, he didn't just say then the window frames, the beveled window frames, you know, the detail in this. But remember that in this temple, every curtain, every window, every etching, you know, everything that's being put in this window will speak about Jesus Christ. Everything. And verse 18, it was made with cherubim and palm trees, a palm tree between cherub and cherub. Each cherub had 2 faces. How many do they have altogether, cherub? 4. But here, these 2 faces are what, if you're carving it, if it's in the thing, you can make it to maybe see the 2 faces, but you can't see all 4, right? So it had 2 faces, a face of a man looking towards one palm tree, and the face of a young lion toward another palm tree. And that just spoke to me about Jesus Christ, right? He was all man, fully God, right? And he was also the Lion of the tribe of Judah, right? And so those are the ones that you see there. Palm trees. What do we know about palm trees? Why palm trees? I mean, there's going to be palm trees. But what happens to palm trees in hurricanes and storms and everything.
Then they
Yeah.
bend.
And they don't break usually, right? Even their leaves seem to stay on, don't they? Just speaking about the power and strength of the Lord, palm trees, he's got them everywhere. And
I thought it might have been a reference to like Palm Sunday when he comes in and they have all the palm fronds on the
Okay.
ground as his donkey's coming through. I just thought there might be some kind of reference there. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, why not, right? Because I mean, he's got them everywhere. They're all throughout the temple. And so, what when we know that when God puts things there, they mean something. And so I would say, why not? That would be beautiful. They have the designs of the trees, the cherubim, and the two faces, man and lion. And then verse 21, the doorposts of the temple were square. So was the front of the sanctuary. And the altar, verse 22, was of wood, 3 cubits high, and its length 2 cubits. And he talks about its corners made of wood. And he said to me, this is the table that is before the Lord. So the altar of wood, too small for animal sacrifice. It's about 5 feet high and probably less than 3.5 feet long. So that would not be the one for sacrifices because they were gigantic. You had to put a bull on it. They were gigantic. This is probably the altar of incense, which would be inside the temple building. The incense goes up to the Lord and it's a sweet smell. It was probably in the holy place, just outside of the most holy place. And I think if you've ever did a walk through the temple when we were studying it, you could see the incense right before the Holy of Holies in it. And it would go up. But this altar is referred to as being before the Lord. And so represented the prayers that come before God. Makes sense that it would be the altar of incense, and again, too small for sacrifice. Verse 23, the temple and the sanctuary had 2 doors. The doors had 2 panels. So you can kind of picture that. There's 2 panels, one on each side, right? Both doors. So going into the temple, and then once you're in the temple, you have to go back that way to get into the Holy of Holies. So each one had a dual panel door, either opened up like this or in like that. Cherubim and palm trees carved on the doors and on the walls. And there was a wooden canopy on the front of the vestibule outside. So the temple and the sanctuary, again, 2 doors, like some kind of folding construction that were on there, and beveled window frames and palm trees. Also on the side chambers of the temple and on the canopies. So this folding construction having 2 panels hinged in some way with a wooden canopy on the front. You will definitely see that on the videos and you'll go, oh, I get it. That's what it looked like. Yeah. And you know how many videos I had to watch in order to find the right one. It's a lot. Chapter 42. Then he brought me, Ezekiel, out into the outer court by the way toward the north, and he brought me into the chamber which was opposite the separating courtyard, and which was opposite the building toward the north, facing the length, which was 100 cubits and 50 cubits wide, was the north door. And again, if you have, I don't know if you brought this back with you so you'd have it, but again, you're over here at the north. This is the north gate. This is the north inner gate. And he's talking about, he's over in this area here. And he was saying that, and you'll see this, you'll actually see this in front of the chambers, toward the inside was a walkway. And then there were these upper chambers that were shorter. And they had galleries, which took away space from them more than from the lower and middle stories of the building. So the lower ones were like this, the middle one was a little bit shorter, and the top one was a lot shorter because there were these galleries up there again. So it made it smaller on the top. So it was like almost like a little pyramid looking sort of affair. And then he talks about the fact that the 3 stories did not have pillars. Therefore, the upper level was shorter than the middle and the ground level. And then there's a wall. And he gives us a length for the wall. Verse 8, the length of the chambers towards the outer court was 50 cubits, whereas that one that was facing the temple was 100 cubits. So the rooms that were facing the temple were longer than the ones that were not facing the temple. And at the lower chamber was an entrance on the east side as one goes into them from the outer court. So you're like, what? Ezekiel is taken away from the temple now. He's back on the outer court. So he's taken away from the temple. Come tomorrow. He's taken away from, there's a temple. He was taken away from the temple, and he's in the outer court. And he's in the outer court out here. And he's looking at the covered walkway, which would be, it's hard to see that, but it would be over here. That's what they call, I forget what they call the covered walkway, but it was by the 3 stories. The 3 stories where it says the chambers for the Levites and stuff, that's all this area that he's talking about over here. And there's a walkway that goes to all the different chambers within the temple. Now remember, this is a real literal temple that Christ is putting together, is going to build. It's for the Jews, but it's something that we are going to be able to see. And I just find it fascinating. So they have these walkways so everybody can move around or observe and participate in all these temple activities. And then verse 10, there were chambers in the thickness of the wall, the courtyard toward the east, opposite the separating courtyard and opposite the building. There was a walk in front of them also, and their appearance was like the chambers which were toward the north. They were as long as they were wide. And verse 12, corresponding to the doors of the chambers that were facing south, as one enters them, there was a door in front of the wall, and the way directly in front of the wall toward the east. So since the walls were so thick, I mean, it makes sense to have chambers in the walls. They were really, really thick walls, and all of it according to God's plans. So these are chambers here. These buildings, these little squares here, these are chambers. Yeah. And they're like part of the wall. That's actually the thickness of the wall. And there's a walkway, obviously, right there. And that's where Ezekiel is walking. And verse 13, then he said to me, the north chambers and the south chambers, which are opposite the separating courtyard, are holy chambers. That's where the priests who are going to be coming in front of the Lord are going to eat the most holy offerings. There they shall lay the most holy offerings. They're going to put the grain offering, the sin offering, and the trespass offering, for the place is holy. Verse 14, when the priests enter them, they shall not go out of the holy chamber into the outer court, but they're going to leave their garments that they were wearing when they minister in front of the Lord, because those garments are holy. They're going to leave them there and put on their other garments before they go out to where the people are. So many of the sacrifices included a meal.
Are those the high priests that he's talking about?
The high priests were the ones that went into the Holy of Holies.
Oh,
These are priests, but
Okay.
not the high priest, yes.
okay.
So there's a lot of sacrifices, and a lot of them have meal that are shared by the priests, and sometimes they're shared with the person that's bringing the offering. We kind of went through that. It's been a while, but
Mhm.
some of them are eaten with the priests, and some, because the priests had to eat, right? And so provisions made for a place to eat these most holy offerings. Grain offering, a gift to God of grain or flour, that makes sense. It was voluntary, and it was an expression of worship, an expression of thanksgiving. Thank you that my crops bloomed, that everything, I'm bringing you. Thank you, Lord. And then would be the first fruits of their harvest. The sin offering was a sacrifice offered for unintentional transgressions of God's commands. This particular one. It helped to restore the relationship between God and the sinner, who actually was sinning out of ignorance. So this wasn't blatant, you did it and you don't care sort of thing. This is unintentional. You accidentally stepped on this thing when it's holy and you shouldn't have been, it's unintentional sin, and that's the sin offering that we're looking at here. And then the trespass offering would be to make atonement for specific sins involving a breach of trust or violation of God's standards. It was required when a person unintentionally sinned against holy things that were dedicated to the Lord, or against another person that caused harm or loss. So the trespass offering, a little bit different. The first one was unintentional sins, and you could, I don't know, I'm trying to think of something today that maybe unintentional. You stub your toe and you swear, I mean, it's accidental, what I mean? It's not something you meant to do, and you repent right there and ask the Lord to forgive you. Yeah.
So God said he's gonna dwell here.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we talked about God the Father, because Jesus is going to be ruling. And the other thing is, can only Jews go in there? And why will they still be giving sacrifice?
Oh, this is the big question of the day. Yeah. And we're gonna cover all that, because
Okay.
it's these things are they've been debating and debatable for a long time, and so I'm trying to grasp an understanding of them. We're gonna have to look at least two different sides of the coin, and I promise we will. And then you'll be able to decide what you think. But they're going to use a ram or a male lamb that's unblemished. These offerings could be stored in the chambers, and the chambers were also for the holy clothing worn by the priests. And when their duties were done, they put on their other clothes to go out among the people. They didn't want people saying, "Oh, you've got your holy clothes on, let me just touch you," and it would make the people clean, And so God said, "Leave your garments where they are." You can touch someone and be unclean. In this case, you could have touched the holy garments and been clean. So the Lord said, "Leave them there." Verse 15, now when he had finished measuring the inner temple, he brought me out through the gateway that faces towards the east. This is the inner gate. Can't go out the outer east gate, right? It's the one that shut. So these are the inner gates. And he measures them with a measuring rod. He measures the north and the south. And then he comes around to the west side, and he measures 500 rods by the measuring rod. So the divine guide, he finishes this overall kind of perspective of a temple very large area. And again, larger than where the Temple Mount is today. If you took Ezekiel's temple and tried to put it there on top of the mount today, it wouldn't fit. It won't go. That blows people's minds away. But this wall was found to form a square to about 3,062,500 square yards, almost a square mile. Too large. Actually, it turns out to be about a mile and a half square. Will not fit. Too large for Mount Moriah, where the other temples stood. So, in order for this temple to be there, it's going to require a change in topography, right? And we know who's going to institute that change.
The Antichrist?
No,
No.
No. no. When Jesus touches down and he puts his foot down on the Mount of Olives, what happens? Do you remember? There's a major the split.
I was gonna say the mountains. Oh,
Yeah,
way
there's a
left.
major, yeah. And then during the millennium, there's earthquakes. God changes the whole topography of Israel. So this will be able to be there. Zechariah, Zechariah 14.
Okay, is it 14?
Mm-hmm. 9, 10, 11.
9, 10, 11, okay. And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one. All the land shall be turned as a plain from Geba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place, from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, unto the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananiel unto the king's witnesses. And the men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited.
So it will be I don't know if you caught that in the very beginning, it will be a plain. If this area is going to be a flat plain. There's mountains there right now, but when God does this, he's going to make it flat. And it's really interesting. Verse 20, he measured it on the 4 sides. It had a wall all around, 500 long, 500 wide, to separate the holy areas from the common areas. So the purpose of the wall around the temple compound was sort of to communicate God's holiness. This is holy. Outside, common ground. There's a wall, not to keep anybody out, not to keep anybody in, but we have to realize that we are separate from God. We are not God. He's holy and he's God, and we are not, and they are not. And so it's more of a separation of holy and common than it is a wall for any other purpose. And then chapter 43, after they measured everything, he brought me to the gate that faces towards the east. And behold, the glory of Israel came from the way of the east. His voice was like the sound of many waters, and the earth shone with his glory. If you remember, Ezekiel's tour began at the east gate, right? With the divine guide. And we had looked at many years before Ezekiel had seen a vision. You should remember that from God, the glory of God departing from the temple. You know, he went here and then he stopped a moment and went over here, and then he went out of the east gate. That's what Ezekiel saw. He saw his glory departing, went out of the east gate towards the Mount of Olives, and then that was, and he's coming back the same way, right? They said this Jesus, that why are you looking? He's going to come back the same way that he left. And so now this is what Ezekiel is seeing. What a promise! You know, this is going to Ezekiel, who's in captivity. Remember, they're in Iraq, right? And in captivity, And this is something that he's going to be sharing with the captives. What hope do you think they are going to feel when Ezekiel tells them what's going to happen, and that there will be a temple and God will be there, and how beautiful it's going to be. But from the same direction that Ezekiel saw God's glory depart, he's seeing it return to this new temple. Before it was just a building, but now with the glory of God in it, it's going to be a sacred holy place, and it's going to have God's presence there, actually forever, in Israel forever. He will be there in the millennial temple. He's going to be there. God himself, Jesus Christ, will be there, not in heaven, not, he's going to be there. But it says his voice was like the sound of many waters. We heard that when he first saw his visions. We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
I'm always curious to know what that's going to sound like. How does a voice sound like many waters,
They say that in Revelation too.
Sometimes I think it's like the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit speaking the same thing at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It sounds like many waters, but that could be, I guess. Verse 3, it was like the appearance of the vision which I saw, like the vision which I saw when I came to destroy the city. The visions were like the vision which I saw by the river Shebar, and I fell on my face, and the glory of the Lord came into the temple by way of the gate which faces towards the east. The Spirit lifted me up and brought me into the inner court, and behold, the glory of the Lord filled the temple. So Ezekiel recognized this as the same thing that he saw back in chapters like 10, 11. We were back there when he's like, this is the same. Then the glory came in judgment back then. He said, as it did when I saw when I came to destroy the city. So back then he was coming in for judgment. Now it's different. From the same direction he saw him leave, now he's seeing him return into this new temple. Beautiful. Oh man.
Is that what we call the Shekinah glory?
In holy reverence and fear of the Lord, Ezekiel falls on his face, seeing God's majesty and realizing his own unworthiness. And when the glory of the Lord left the temple, it was with a sense of sadness. If you remember, he as the glory of God left, he stopped and stopped and stopped. And so you could sense the sadness as he left. But now it seems as Ezekiel's describing him coming back, he's just coming back. It's right in, right? There's no waiting. There's no hoovering over any place. He's back in. And the Holy Spirit brought Ezekiel to see the glory fill the temple. That had to be, I can't even, we're going to see it, but how do you even visualize? How do you prepare for that? How do you visualize that? I don't know. But Ezekiel could see it from the inner court. So the Lord, right, through the east gate, he goes in through the inner east gate, and he goes into the temple, and the glory of the Lord fills the temple. And out here is the inner court where Ezekiel is standing. He could see the glory from the inner court. He could see the glory fill the whole temple. Wow. Verse 6. Then I heard him speaking, Jesus, speaking to me from the temple, while a man stood beside me. And he said to me, Son of man, this is the place of my throne, and the place of the soles of my feet, where I will dwell in the midst of the children of Israel forever. He doesn't say in the midst of Gentiles, does he?
When he said the soles of my feet, when I read that, it took me aback for a minute, and then I realized, well, we're made in his image, so he would have feet.
Of course, yes, he does. Well, he's still there as Jesus, as he looked. Yeah. So definitely. No more shall the house of Israel defile my holy name, they nor their kings by their harlotry, or with the carcasses of their kings on their high places. Verse 8, when they set their threshold by my threshold, their doorpost by my doorpost, with a wall between them and me, they defiled my holy name by the abominations which they committed. Therefore I have consumed them in my anger. Now let them put their harlotry and their carcasses of their kings far away from me, and I will dwell in their midst forever. So the voice of Yahweh himself speaking from the temple, showing Ezekiel it was truly the presence of God there, because not only is he seeing his Shekinah glory fill the temple, but he's hearing his voice as he's speaking to him from out to the outer inner court where Ezekiel is standing. And he's active. The man standing beside Ezekiel, that might have been the guide, the one that was showing him, measuring things, don't know. But we don't see or hear him again because now God is present and he's speaking. God proclaimed that he had come back to the temple to reign. It's his throne where he's going to stand and where he would dwell with Israel's people forever. This shows God's love for his chosen people and for the land, evident in this millennial kingdom. This day of a renewed temple, God's glory, and the promise of his dwelling would be a holy day for Israel. All their sinful practices of the past are over. They're not going to defile God's holy name by serving other gods. They're not going to be spiritually dead kings giving offerings to the high places. They had two hearts, which they tried to serve idols alongside Yahweh. That's what he was talking about with the kings. Remember the kings? It's like, yeah, we can serve God over here with the calf, golden calf, but it's still God, and we'll still give the sacrifices to God, but we're going to use the calf. They had divided hearts. The kings were, remember, northern Israel, they did not have one good king ever until God took them into captivity. And God says, no more, not going to happen, no more. From now on, they're going to know, and they're going to worship me. No more idol worship anywhere. Verse 10, Son of man, describe the temple to the house of Israel, that they may be ashamed of their iniquities. Let them measure the pattern. And if they are ashamed of all that they have done, make known to them the design of the temple, its arrangement, its exits, its entrances, its entire design, all its ordinances, all its forms, all its laws. Write it down in their sight so they may keep its whole design and all its ordinances and perform them. Verse 12, this is the law of the temple. The whole area surrounding the mountaintop is most holy. Behold, this is the law of the temple. So one of the reasons God gave this vision to Ezekiel was that they would be ashamed of their iniquities. Everything that they've been doing, these captives, they're captives. God sent them into captivity. Why? Because of their adultery. Now he's showing them this vision, and they should go, oh my gosh, this is what God's going to do for us. This is what God's going to give to us, and make them ashamed that they've been doing what they're doing. And that's what the Lord is saying. Through his description of the promised temple, all the details, all the patterns, all the measurements, Israel's going to see how great God's love, grace, and mercy to them really was. This is in the millennial. And they would be ashamed and repent. The details in the description of the temple is going to assure them it's real. Their restoration will be real. God isn't finished with you, Israel. Thank God. A foundational principle of Ezekiel's temple was holiness. The law of the temple was the whole area surrounding the mountaintop is most holy. It is where God's glory abides. That's the biggie. Holy, holy, holy. Holy are you, Lord God. God, if we don't get anything, it's leaving and remembering that God is holy. Yes, he's our savior. Yes, he's our friend, our father, our Abba, all those things, but he's holy. And we are not. Our righteousness comes because of him, because we're in him, because we stand in him. When God the Father looks at us, he sees Christ. He sees Christ's holiness. He doesn't see ours. But he is holy, and all the area around where he is will be considered holy. And you'll get to see this. I can't wait for you to see this. Verse 13, measurements of the altar. So he's talking about the measurements of the altar. It's got a rim all around its edge. And then he tells us the height of the altar from the base on the ground to the lower ledge, and then each ledge to the very top. The altar hearth is 4 cubits high with 4 horns. You should remember that from our old studies. 4 horns extending upward from the hearth being the place where they cook the sacrifice, right? So the 4 corners have the horns sticking up. And on the ledge, he measures that, and then there's a rim around that that he is measuring. So after the presence of God's glory and the promise of his presence forever, now Ezekiel returns to going back to describing the place of sacrifice. So this altar points to the cross and the finished work of Messiah upon the cross. The center of the temple complex is the altar, or the center is the cross. Center of our worship is the cross. The center of the temple is sacrifice. Christ sacrificed himself on the cross. The center of theirs is going to be sacrifice. Remember, we don't see any call to build this. This will be God's doing, not man's. The dimensions show that the altar was large and tall, had an estimated height of 12 to 20 feet. The sacrificial blood was smeared on the horns. The altar hearth, or the flat top surface where the fire was kept burning, is measured, and its steps face the east. Although in the old Mosaic law, there were no steps to the altar. This altar is large. The priest would now ascend the steps, turn their backs towards the east. So the steps face the east. They're going to walk up the steps with their back towards the east, right? Their backs towards the east. Remember, in the old temple, they were worshiping the east. The Muslim worships to the east, right? They worship Allah. The priest will now go up the steps, and their back is to the east. They are facing the temple. That's important. God doesn't miss anything. Verse 18, and he said to me, Son of man, thus says the Lord God, these are the ordinances for the altar on the day when it is made, for sacrificing burnt offerings on it and for sprinkling blood on it. And he says, you're going to give a young bull for a sin offering to the priests, the Levites, who are of the seed of Zadok. They're the ones that are going to approach me and minister to me, says the Lord. And take some of the blood, put it on the 4 horns of the altar, on the 4 corners of the ledge, on the rim. You shall cleanse it, make atonement for it. They're making atonement for the altar. Then you shall take the bull of the sin offering, burn it in the appointed place of the temple, outside the sanctuary. On the 2nd day, you offer a kid. That's a goat, not a kid, without blemish, for a sin offering. And they shall cleanse the altar as they cleansed it with the bull. When you have finished cleansing it, you shall offer a young bull without blemish and a ram from the flock without blemish. And when you offer them before the Lord, the priests shall throw salt on them. And just keep that in mind. The priest shall throw salt on them for something down the road. Just keep that in the back of your mind. And they will offer them up as a burnt offering to the Lord every day for 7 days. So for a week, you shall prepare a goat for a sin offering and a young bull and a ram from the flock. 7 days, you're going to make atonement for the altar and purify it, and so consecrate it. When these days are over, it shall be on the 8th day and thereafter that the priest shall offer your burnt offerings and your peace offerings on the altar, and I will accept you. He couldn't accept their offerings until the altar itself was cleansed and purified and made holy. That's what they did the first round. Then they can come and bring their offerings and put on there. So God instructs Israel how they're going to consecrate the altar for this temple. As a priest, Ezekiel was qualified to represent the one who would, in the future, perform this ceremony. So you got this series of sacrifices over 7 days that consecrated the altar. And then after that, it begins its normal service on the eighth day, eight number of
Seven is completion, and then the next day would be the first.
new beginning. New begin. Eight is the number of new beginnings. The priests will be from the line of Zadok. Any others were not allowed to inhabit this priestly office on account of their past idolatrous associations with shrines. The Levites, a lot of them were helping the kings do the worship on the high places, right? So now, it could only be temple servants. That's all the Levites are going to do because of what they did in the past. The priests that minister to the Lord will be the Zadokites from the line of Zadok. And they use salt as a preservative, right? That is to remind the priests of Yahweh's commitment to preserve his people. And God will accept them. His acceptance is contingent upon obedience to his commands and the correct performance of rituals, which signify a restored covenant relationship with him. These are sacrifices in the temple, in the millennium, looking back, not forward. Remember again, the Jews have never worshiped Messiah. They have never understood. They did a bunch of sacrifices and then they were done with it. And they've never sacrificed since, right? And they are waiting for their Messiah to come. So Jesus is going to have this temple. They're going to do certain sacrifices. There's a lot of sacrifices that they don't do, but the ones that they're doing is going to be to remind them that it was always Jesus. This is what Jesus did for you on the cross. This is who I was. I was here the whole time. And it will remind the Jews, and he will be right there. This was me. When you did this, remember when you did this? This was me.
But we can't go in there. Gentiles can't go into
It says the rulers from all different nations will come before the Lord.
Oh.
Not necessarily in the temple, but they will come before the Lord.
Okay.
So the area, there will be a place where the rulers of the world will come.
Because they'll be available to the outer court, won't they?
Yeah. But 44, then he brought me back to the outer gate of the sanctuary, which faces towards the east, but it was shut. And the Lord said to me, this gate shall be shut. It shall not be opened. No man shall enter by it, because the Lord God of Israel has entered by it. Therefore it shall be shut. It gives me goosies when I read, the Lord walked there. No man will walk there. It's just, gives me, because he's so holy. But I don't know, perhaps Ezekiel is still being led by the angelic guide and Yahweh is speaking to him from the temple, or some people believe Yahweh is leading Ezekiel right there. But he brings Ezekiel back to the outer gate, right where his tour began, but the gate was shut by the Lord. And we know no man's going to enter it. Used for God and God alone. And since God will never leave the temple again, this gate will remain closed. He said he will remain forever. He's not going to leave again. That's a big one. Verse 3, as for the prince, because he is the prince, he may sit in it to eat bread before the Lord.
Who's the prince?
Hang on. He shall enter by way of the vestibule of the gateway and go out the same way. Now, here's where we get into these debates, and I have my own thoughts from studying. Some people believe, some pastors, great pastors, including mine, believe that this prince is Jesus Christ.
Mm.
Other pastors, great pastors, Calvary pastors, believe that it's David. Okay. And so as we read about this, and when we get out of Ezekiel and we're going to do a study of the millennium, we'll see all these different aspects of who, why, what, where, and how they get there. But here's the first verse you can look at is verse 3. As for the prince, because, and remember, I think you know, right? Any words that are in italics were not there. The editors put those in to make more sense for us, right? As the prince, he is the prince. Okay, that's how it would normally read, right? He may sit in it to eat bread before the Lord. He shall enter by way of the vestibule of the gateway and go out the same way. So the prince, let's just say, would be David, okay, who would have special privilege regarding the gate. He has special access to the gate complex, and he may sit in its chambers and vestibule to fellowship with the Lord, but he cannot enter through the gate. So talking about the east gate, can't go in, it's shut, but the prince will be able to come in through the side and sit there and have fellowship with the Lord. Now, if the prince is Jesus, then they're saying that he's just going to go into that part and have fellowship there. But keep it in mind, because we're gonna have a lot of stuff on this. You know, Pastor Mike said that he believes it's Jesus because he doesn't think that God would give David that position, but we'll just keep that in mind. So we'll go. Verse 4.
But Jesus doesn't need to go through the gate. Can he go through walls still like he did?
He's not leaving. He said he's never leaving the area. That he's not going to ever go back out again.
Oh,
Remember, this is huge complex. This is not.
it's the millennium, and he's ruling all the world.
From here.
Yeah.
He's ruling all this world, all the world from here.
Hmm.
He will not go out the east gate. He will not go out that gate. His gate is shut. Nobody else can come in or go out of that gate. The prince is allowed to go in the side and sit in the vestibule of that gate and fellowship with the Lord, but not walk through it.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Kind of like that, but it makes sense, but it kind of, like I said, it makes me think that, because I was of the opinion that during the millennium, Jesus will go anywhere on the earth. Will you have a big computer?
We're all gonna come to him.
CNN. No.
We are all going to come to him, but we'll be with him. Remember, we're eternal, and we're going to be ruling and reigning. So we're eternal. The rest of the leaders and all, they're going to go to the temple to be taught by him, to see him, to worship him. Okay. Verse 4. But there's so much to this. So just keep, underline some of these verses and keep it in mind so that at the end of the day, it will help you. This has been a pastoral debate area for many, many, many years. So we're going to tackle it. But verse 4. Also, he brought me by the way of the north gate to the front of the temple. So north gate, right? He brought me by way of the north gate. So you couldn't go in that way. Brought me by way of the north gate, north inner gate to the temple. So I looked, and behold, the glory of the Lord filled the house of the Lord, and I fell on my face. And the Lord said to me, Son of man, mark well. See with your eyes, hear with your ears. In other words, pay attention. All that I say to you concerning all the ordinances of the house of the Lord and all its laws. Mark well who may enter the house and all who go out from the sanctuary. So Ezekiel's led to come in through the north gate. Ezekiel immediately sees that the glory still fills the temple. So Ezekiel falls on his face in the presence of the Lord, and the Lord tells Ezekiel, again, pay close attention to everything that he's saying concerning the ordinances of the temple. Important, 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 important. Mark well the entrance to the temple and all the exits from the sanctuary, is what he's telling him. Pardon me. Verse 6. Say to the rebellious, to the house of Israel, thus says the Lord God, O house of Israel, let us have no more of all your abominations. When you brought in foreigners, uncircumcised in heart and uncircumcised in flesh, you brought them into my sanctuary to defile it, into my house. And when you offered my food, the fat and the blood, then they broke my covenant because of all your abominations. Verse 8, and you have not kept charge of my holy things, but you have set others to keep charge of my sanctuary for you. Thus says the Lord God, no foreigner uncircumcised in heart or uncircumcised in flesh shall enter my sanctuary, including any foreigner who is among the children of Israel. So he wants him to say to the rebellious house of Israel, you know, enough of all your abominations. Remember, they let foreigners, and they let all kinds of people and people that weren't circumcised, Gentiles, they let them go, and they got lazy. They let them go in and do the worship service and all that. It would be like today, like at church, just having somebody that's not a pastor, an elder, or a deacon to go ahead and Nancy, will you get up today and give us a sermon and lead the, I mean, and that's what they were doing. Not that you'd be circumcised, but just somebody. And God says, you defiled it. You allowed him in my sanctuary. It profaned my temple. You broke my covenant. You disobeyed my statutes, and under no circumstances should strangers or those who had not accepted the covenant God made with Israel be allowed in the temple to serve. But Israel didn't care for the holy things God entrusted to them in his law, but let the ungodly keep charge of them. And eventually they got stolen, right? In the millennial temple, there would be a true separation, and those not in covenant could not enter. No unbelieving visitors will enter. No unbelievers will be in the temple.
Okay.
No unbelievers. And well, we'll see how he separates all of that. Verse 10. And the Levites who went far from me when Israel went astray, who strayed away from me after their idols, they shall bear their iniquity. God's mercy in verse 11, yet they shall be ministers in my sanctuary as gatekeepers of the house, ministers of the house. They shall slay the burnt offering and the sacrifice for the people, and they shall stand before them to minister to them. So despite what they did, God's shown some mercy to the Levites. I'm not going to just get rid of you as priests. I'm going to let you come in, and you're going to be able to be servants and workers in the temple. But they did have to pay for what they did. Verse 12, because they ministered to them before their idols and caused the house of Israel to fall into iniquity, therefore I have raised my hand in an oath against them, says the Lord God, that they shall bear their iniquity. They shall not come near to me to minister to me as a priest, nor come near any of my holy things, nor into the most holy place, but they shall bear their shame and their abominations which they have committed. Nevertheless, that's the Lord, I will make them keep charge of the temple for all its work and for all that has to be done in it. So God speaking to the Levites, they strayed from Yahweh along with the rest of Israel. They went after idols. This was true of the Levites in Ezekiel's day. So Ezekiel gets it. He knows what God is saying. They did the same thing. But God promised a future restoration of the Levites, and in the millennium, they're going to be gatekeepers and ministers of the temple. He did, however, hold the Levites accountable for their sin. He has to, otherwise he wouldn't be a just God. And he's going to discipline them because of it. He's raised his hand in an oath, and in the future, in the millennial temple, the Levites are not going to be allowed to perform sacrifices as priests. They're going to be allowed to perform other functions as part of their discipline. They're going to just keep charge of the temple, but they won't be able to come in front of the Lord. That's kind of sad. Verse 15, but the priests, the Levites, the sons of Zadok, who kept charge of my sanctuary when the children of Israel went astray, they get to come near to me to minister to me, and they're going to stand before me to offer to me the fat and the blood, says the Lord God. They shall enter my sanctuary, they shall come near my table to minister to me, and they shall keep my charge. So the sons of Zadok were the tribe of Levi, and they were the family of Aaron. So they were priests. Zadok received the right to the priesthood in the days of Solomon. 1 Kings, Debbie, 1 Kings 2:35. Oh, you're muted. There you go.
Okay. The king put Benaiah, the son of Jehoiada, in his place over the army, and the king put Zadok, the priest, in the place of Abiathar.
So that's what he put Zadok in place of. He was a descendant of Eleazar, Aaron's third son. But Zadok was faithful to David during the time his son Absalom tried to kill him, remember? Zadok anointed Solomon as king when everybody else was trying to seize the throne. So God declares that the ministry of the priest was to God himself. Every believer is a priest unto God. We're a priest unto God. We're priests, priestesses. 1 Peter 2:5, MA.
But also for this very reason, giving all diligence, adding to their faith virtue, to virtue knowledge. You want me to continue?
Yeah.
Okay. To knowledge, self-control. To self-control, perseverance. To perseverance, godliness. Want me to continue?
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Yeah.
Okay. To godliness, brotherly kindness, and to brotherly kindness, love. For if these things are yours and abound, you will neither barren nor unfruitful in the knowledge of our Lord Jesus Christ.
And I'm sorry.
You want me to continue?
No, that was it. That was what I
Okay.
needed. And Revelation 5:10.
Revelation.
Huh?
Revelation 5:10.
Yeah.
And have made us kings and priests to our God, and we shall reign on the earth.
Made us kings, which would be guys, and priests
To our
to
God.
God.
Mm.
So we serve one another, of course, but God says, first they shall come near to me to minister to me. So
But not women. No,
we are all priests, huh?
no women can go to God close to him.
Says who?
Well, everything is, the men are gonna do this, the priests. I
Right,
mean, do
yes.
we have women, I mean, can we go to God in heaven and, like kiss his feet or?
You can sit on his lap. He's accessible. The veil isn't there anymore. God, the Lord is accessible to us, just the same as it is
First Peter
just the same as it is 2:5.
2:5, sorry.
Wow.
Just the same as it is to the men. But you're right in the fact that and you can I might ask. I was going to ask Mike the other day and was curious. I think the women we will be ruling and reigning because we will be part of the priesthood. But what exactly we get to do, since we probably won't be over men, but we will have other things to do, you know.
Probably the dishes.
No, no, that's the servants, you know.
Meal prep, a lot of meal prep.
Yeah, that's the servants. But there'll be a lot of work. Wait till we get into the study of millennium. There's a lot of stuff to do. Verse 17, and it shall be whenever they enter the gates of the inner court that they shall put on linen garments. No wool shall come upon them while they minister within the gates of the inner court or within the house. They shall have linen turbans on their heads, linen trousers on their bodies. They shall not clothe themselves with anything that causes sweat. And when they go out into the outer court, to the people, they take off their garments in which they have ministered, leave them in the holy chambers, put on other garments, and in their holy garments they shall not sanctify the people. We don't want the people running up to you trying to get cleansed. So when the sons of Zadok came to perform their priestly service, they put on these linen garments. And I think that's why the Mormons wear all these underwear and all these linen things. They kind of get it from here, but they use it incorrectly. But so they're not being clothed with anything that causes sweat. God wanted them to serve him in peace and in the rest of the spirit, not with human effort. That's why no sweat. Well, he doesn't want to see human effort. When you serve God, it's a restful thing. It's a beautiful thing. And so nothing that would cause sweat. He doesn't want to see man's efforts. It also depicted purity. So when the service was over, they left their priestly garments behind the temple so they would not persuade the people. The people would not ever believe that they are sanctified by the touch of the priestly garments. So he said, leave them in there. You know, people make idols out of everything. And, you know, they can make an idol out of a priestly garment thing if they, you know, feel they're getting this.
That's what they do in the Catholic.
This thing of Turin, the shroud of Turin and all that. You know, one reason I don't believe that would ever be anything is because people would make an idol out of it, and God doesn't want that.
Clone it too.
Yeah, they would worship it, and
But
that's
the priests, when they put on their long whatever, they did that. So
Yeah.
supposed to get like it's something special.
yeah,
You know, the Pope.
Rituals of men.
What?
I said the Pope is sweating like mad.
I'm sure. And there's many.
Heavy like and all that.
Yeah,
Yep. Verse 20. They shall neither have their heads nor let their hair grow long. Shave their heads, pardon me, they'll have them. Shave their heads nor let their hair grow long, but they shall keep their hair well trimmed. No priest shall drink wine when he enters the inner court. They shall not take as wife a widow or a divorced woman, but take virgins of the descendants of the house of Israel, or widows of priests.
I'm a widow and I object to that. But am I no good?
So their hair was not to be shaved, their head was not to be shaved, but it was also not to be long. No extremes one way or the other for the priests. Here's Absalom, a good example of excess. Remember, he let his hair grow so long, that's how he died, got it caught in the tree.
Too bad
So-
the Catholics don't read these verses about them taking wives.
Yeah.
Okay, because they're directly ministering to God, but they're still allowed
Yeah.
to have a wife.
Yeah, and here they just can't take a widow or divorced. Yeah, they have to take a virgin. Yeah. Unless it is in the priestly.
Widow of a
Yeah.
priest.
Yeah. So it says that they will not be under the influence of wine that day. It doesn't say they can't drink wine, but they're not to be under the influence of it when they go to serve the Lord in front of the Lord. Leviticus, Nancy, 10:9.
Do not drink wine or strong drink, neither you nor your sons with you, when you come into the tent of meeting, so that you may not die. It is a perpetual statute throughout your generations.
So they were allowed to have wine, but not when they were serving the Lord. The Zadokites will not take a widow or divorced woman as wife, but marry a Jewish virgin. The exception will be the widow of another priest. Remember Eli's sons? God killed them because they were
Married somebody.
drunk. They were drunk and they were giving false fire and all that stuff, and God killed them. God don't play around. Verse 23, and they shall teach my people the difference between the holy and the unholy, and cause them to discern between the unclean and the clean. In controversy, they shall stand as judges and judge it according to my judgments. They shall keep my laws and my statutes in all my appointed meetings, and they shall hallow my Sabbaths. So one of the fundamental duties of the priest is going to be to teach Israel the difference between clean and unclean. By instruction, by example, between what is holy and unholy. They're going to be judges in these matters. So if somebody has an issue and they're going to come before them and say, is this right or wrong? Is this something you should have done or should not have done? We're going to judge between what should have been done holy and what shouldn't be done unholy.
I thought
And-
that when the millennium came, that there would be no references to life as it was in the Old Testament. So they're still gonna keep to clean and unclean, that kind of thing.
Yeah, they just sanctified the temple, the altar and everything. They had to purify it. They had to purify the temple.
Okay.
So they are still using that as an example, not because Christ fulfilled everything,
Right.
but they're doing it to look back, like we use communion. We take communion, we're looking back to what Jesus Christ did on the cross. We're not saying we're doing this instead of Christ, but we look back. They will be doing that same thing. They will be looking back at what Christ did for them, even though they didn't know that he did it at the time, but they're learning. They're going to learn. They have to learn all of this. We know it. They have to learn it all. This is all going to be fundamentally mind-blowing to them to know that their Messiah was the one that was right there the whole time. They're gonna be judges in these particular matters, and they must be well educated in God's laws, his statutes. They must live lives of obedience to God, and they must know and honor the Sabbaths as they judge disputes. These are with divine instructions, not human laws. These are God's divine instructions that they are judging with, like it should be, not man's laws. These are not man's laws. They're not going to say, well, this is what the law says. This is what God says. So they have to know the word. They shall not defile themselves by coming near a dead person, verse 25. Only for father or mother, son or daughter, brother or unmarried sister may they defile themselves. After he is cleansed, they shall count 7 days for him. And on the day that he goes to the sanctuary to minister in the sanctuary, he must offer his sin offering in the inner court, says the Lord God. So just like the priests in Moses' day, so it will be in Ezekiel's temple. They're going to avoid dead bodies. These would be individuals entering into the millennium with natural bodies who would ultimately die physically, although physical life would be much longer at that time. People are going to live to 500 or whatever, but there'll still be some death, especially from rebellious people. So if the priest must have contact with a dead body, he will then have to follow the prescribed sacrifice for cleansing in order to resume priestly duties. So in the millennium, there is sin, even though it's held at bay, and there is death, although not like it is today. It says if you die at 100, they're going to say, what did you do? What's wrong with you? Why? Verse 28, and it shall be in regard to their inheritance. I am their inheritance. You shall give them no possession in Israel. I am their possession. They shall eat the grain offering, the sin offering, the trespass offering. Every dedicated thing in Israel shall be theirs. The best of all first fruits of any kind. And he's talking about the priest. And every sacrifice of any kind from all your sacrifices shall be the priest. Also, you shall give to the priests the first of your ground meal to cause a blessing to rest on your house. The priest shall not eat anything bird or beast that died naturally or was torn by wild beasts, was torn. So when the priesthood was established by Moses, this principle was true then. The priests will have no true inheritance in the land of Israel because Yahweh is going to be their inheritance. They're going to live from the temple offerings. And God promised to provide for his priests. They will receive part of what comes into the temples, just like before, which they can earn by doing special work that God has given them. Even in the millennial temple, there's going to be blessing upon those who give to God's work, blessing that will rest on their houses. They will not eat anything except that which is killed as a sacrifice to God. No other way will they have any meat. And remember, in the millennium, the animals are going to be tame, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have a pet snake, no problem.
Still killing
Pet
them
buying.
and eating them.
Yeah.
Specific, but these will be sacrificial animals bred specifically for the temple, only for the Jews. The Gentiles probably be eating veggies because they're not going to be out killing. They're not going to be killing any animals.
Well, I hope.
Oh,
so.
come on, I have to have a steak once in a while.
No, no steak.
Has to die, and he'll make us, so just like Adam and Eve, they didn't have that steak, and they liked what they had.
Yeah. There'd be a lot of, and even the animals are going to be eating vegetables. The animals are going to be eating. They're not going to be eating each other. There's not going to be the predator animals, so they won't be out killing and eating each other either. But they will be eating whatever is growing. It's so going to be so different.
No, I guess we better get used to the plant-based meats.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll like.
But no,
well,
it will
good
be-
for us then, but
We aren't gonna need food the way we need it.
We're going to be eternal, so
Yeah.
you know.
then you have to go back to.
Yeah.
Yes, that would be.
Well, you'll have a perfect body, so
Yeah.
you won't have to worry about it. But yeah. But
This millennial time though sounds like it's going backwards, back into all the laws and all
Yeah.
the stuff of the.
only for
the
the
Jews.
Jews. And again, you have to remember that they did not recognize Jesus as Messiah until the end of the tribulation, right before the millennial.
Oh, that's what they do.
And
Revelation.
and so this is all like, whoa.
It's
And
like they have to start all over.
they have not done any, but for them, what they're going to be doing is like what we do with communion. They're going to be looking back and seeing what Jesus did for them. This was what I did for you. This is what I did for you. This is what I did for you. And it will be done in memory of what Christ did. In the new heaven and new earth, there's no temple. Right? When we get there, there's no temple.
But we don't have as many rules, regulations. It sounds like they're just going.
Because we will be eternal. We won't have we will just be submitted to Christ.
But even now, we don't, I mean, yes, we're supposed to be obedient to Christ and we
Yeah.
all believe in him and everything,
Yeah.
but our sins are forgiven, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
We don't have.
And any Jew that accepts Jesus Christ as Lord and Savior right now lives that same way. They don't live like that, and won't be subjected to that because they're going to be with us, raptured and eternal. It's only the Jews that didn't and hadn't, and they will have to learn who he was. Once you accept him as Lord and Savior, you know who he is. You learn who he is. Completed Jews confess Jesus Christ as Lord. But these are those that did not. He only appeared to them and said, "It's me, I'm Jesus, I'm your Messiah." And now they have to learn all about it. And so it's going to be looking back. When you did this, that was me. When you did this, that was me. Everything in the temple, everything that God puts together, and every doorpost, everything is going to be speaking to them about who he was from the beginning of time. And
We missed out
huh?
and how much they.
Yeah, and they should be ashamed of their iniquities for, and but as I'm going to send out 2 videos. So again, if you are catching it off of YouTube, be sure to hit more so you can get the video. I'm going to be sending out 1 video per me. We got 2 videos. but go through those. It will make so much sense to you. And then as we get in the end chapters, there's a lot, we're going to talk about all the controversy, but then we're going to just take a minute and get into the actual millennium. Who's going to be there? What are we going to be doing? What is it going to look like? Who is this prince and who is the king and who is, and we'll get more into the temple and why they're doing what they're doing and all of that.
So what,
It's fascinating.
the whole rest of.
The whole rest.
Okay.
The whole rest. Yeah, it should be. Yeah.
48, I think. 45 to 48.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But and then, like I said, even this, as you go in and look at the video, everything we just talked about, you'll walk through it and you'll see all of it in 3D and it will speak to you. So, ta-da! Because it's hard to grasp it all when you're just teaching it like that. It's hard to grasp it. It's hard to, how do you get that all in your head, when you're reading it and stay awake, but I guarantee you, you're gonna love the video. It's better than going to the movies.
Oh.
No, they're not very long. They're not very long at all.
Yeah.
Huh?
I'll get my popcorn.
Now, Nancy, I'm sending hers over on email, right? Or messenger.
Now that I know how to.
But everybody else got it, right? Last time?
Yes.
Yeah.
I just got Facebook stuff. If anybody said I think you read my book this morning.
Yeah. I know. Yeah. No chapter plus sure, is it? Oh, it's not. You want me to scoot that back? No, I just, I messed okay. I wrinkled the rug. It's got a little mountain in the middle of it.
Okay, the one I'm sending first, watch first.
Okay.
The second one is more in 44. First one would be 42, 43, and then 44. It would be the second one. And so that would be cool. Biddy, 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 biddy.
Did you finish your coffee?
I'm done with it.
Okay. Thank you. I meant to take it, sorry you had. I knew that one last I just got it, definitely.
And then when we finish, we'll have two more videos that will bring the rest of the book alive. That way, when we get into the millennium, you'll really have more of a picture
Sorry, I used my,
of what it is. Scenes, like I said, scenes we're going to be there. It's fascinating to think this is what's going to be happening. The Lord's coming soon and very soon. Do you realize that pretty soon we'll be eating dinner, the marriage supper of the Lamb, and then we'll be in the millennium. Just pull me like that.
Hi, Joe. See you later. Take care.
Tanda, I love you.
Love you too.
I'm glad you're here.
Me too.
I pray over you every day.
I appreciate that.
Every day. I said, Lord, Lord.
It's just exciting to watch. I watch the Christian news, and they tell about how many earthquakes there are, more than ever before,
Mm-hmm.
and volcanoes,
Yeah.
tsunamis, and fires, and wars, and on and on. And it's like, oh, right. It's like,
Yeah.
It's getting closer.
I
keep looking up to the sky.
Yeah. Well, the main thing is he says, keep your eye on Israel.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Keep your eye on Israel, center of the world, apple of his eye.
And the last time Iran attacked Israel, their bombs exploded in the air or they just disappeared.
Mhm.
It was amazing. None of them
Yeah. And I mean, there's still conflict. You know, Trump is trying to make a plan for Russia and Ukraine to put button heads, and you know, we know that 38 and 39, Russia's going to come along with Iran, and so if they settle down right now and have some peace, they're going to be working on a plan to you know come against Israel. They'll be upset. But we'll see what happens with he just made that peace with um, Armenian and that other Arbanistan or something.
Yeah.
I guess they've been battling for a long time, but yeah, but peace. You start seeing he's brokering peace, until Israel is going to feel like they're, remember it also in Hebrew is a state of mind. You might, you know, you feel safe, you think you're safe because of all the peace agreements. Doesn't necessarily mean that God says you are completely safe. But yeah, anything that pops up that's really, I would send out on the thread. Did you see that? You know.
I don't think it's gonna go that well with Putin.
No.
Because he obviously doesn't want to stop the war unless he gets his land back, so.
But remember, it's all in what the Lord is doing, because he's sovereign over Putin, whether
Yeah.
So where does God want Putin? Does he want him to be quiet right now and make some kind of agreement, and then while he's sitting there in his house all comfy cozy, he's making plans, you know, on how to get how to get with Iran, how to get, because Iran's not going to do anything right now. They're having issues. They talk big, but they, you know, I think it was Iraq that got all their water, all their electricity went off, and Iran is running out of water. And Trump said, if you settle down and make an agreement, we'll provide water for you. We'll give you all the water you need. It's interesting because remember too, God says the Euphrates is going to dry up. Not necessarily the big river, but you know, it's got all these little branches out there, and they are drying up. They're starting to dry up, and so you know that too. But yeah, Debbie, I love you. Look at that cute little face.
She's not feeling very good today.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Do you want us to bring? Do you want us to bring you some chicken soup?
No. I just took a Dayquil. I'm just gonna go after this. I'm just
Are
gonna
you
go lay
getting like a
down.
cold?
No, gosh.
Yeah, I'm coming down with something. I have a heater on me right here. I have my sweater on.
Oh
I'm
my.
just, I took a chill and I'm having a little tough time getting rid of it.
What's the temperature?
Yesterday it was 101, so we got a little bit of a break. But most of the days it's been upwards of 110, 112.
Yeah, and if you're cold, obviously you're
Yeah, I'm coming down with something. But my voice, I've got Ricolas, my cure-all, my cure-all is Ricola.
Yeah, Arizona gets a little toasty.
It does.
Yeah. When I go to Arizona, I'd always go down the street, in this building, out, in the building, out.
Oh, absolutely. It is just,
in the building, out. That's
it's
how I
just,
walk down the street. You go in and out all the buildings, which is good for business, you know.
it truly is. And there's the homeless are just out of control, and
Yeah.
everybody's pretty fed up with
Did you
it.
see what Trump's doing in DC?
Yeah, he's really taken over.
Yeah, I would truly love. Well, let me just say though that the Nogales entrance, that's where they enter the border to Mexico. It's Nogales, and it's very peaceful. It's people walk through it all the time. I mean, it is something that Arizonians are used to. I mean, there's not really much of a problem there. A little further down, a little where they've just got fencing, you know, they've had some issues there, but
Well, he just said, Hammond just said that they have had zero, you know, like catch and releases, zero coming in.
Well, but I have seen the trucks. I have seen the National Guard trucks going down and the military going down. Um, but also too, the trains that used to be full of cars from Mexico coming up here, they are empty now.
Oh, cool.
They are empty.
Yeah, and it's finally feeling safe. And I don't think anybody in Texas or even Arizona or California, as far as that goes, felt safe for the last couple of years. I mean, people were just getting.
Well, right now,
Yeah,
the mayor of Tucson is the problem. She will not charge for bus rides.
Seriously?
And if she would charge for bus rides, there would be so many less issues with the buses because now they all ride for free. The homeless get to ride for free, and that's not fair to kids who are using the bus system to go from their neighborhoods to University of Arizona, and it's not fair to people who have to get to work and are it's unsafe. And I see the police stopping the buses all the time and entering and pulling people off because they're causing issues on the bus, and people are unsafe.
I'm assuming she's a Democratic mayor, so
She is. She
so
is.
prayerfully people will wake up and see, wow, this is what's happening to us, and get there, But yeah, well, it's interesting.
From work, and he wants to look at TV, the news, Fox News, by 9 o'clock. I'm like, I can't look at this anymore. I can't. The Democrats and what they say they enrage me. It's like, how can you think that?
Yeah, and Fox doesn't even really show it all in Newsmax.
It's more than the other ones.
Yeah, Newsmax is still yeah. It's interesting. I just saw an article where Pete Hegseth doesn't want to come out. He just got a $12.9 million bonus from Fox, because he's not there anymore, right? From all his years that he was there, et cetera, et cetera. And he donated it to Minneapolis to build shelters for the homeless. 150 shelters and 300 bed shelters or something. I don't know.
That's his home state. That's
Yeah.
his home state.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I was like, good for him.
Wow.
I had an appointment for a haircut Friday, so I went to Suzanne's because she said, "But can you come and visit?" So I went to her. We went out for.
Pauline, did you get the videos?
We're at this little
Would you send them to me? Because I didn't get them.
lady who had been sitting at
Thank you.
just by herself, came over and said, "Enjoy your breakfast, ladies. Your bill is all paid for."
Oh.
That happened to us last time we were at Granny's.
Fabulous, you know.
It was with.
Somebody,
Yeah.
somebody that is looking to bless.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think it was the woman who came to us, and she was probably middle-aged lady, black lady, so nice. I just thought,
Yeah.
now you have to do it too because that's what it's supposed to pay it forward. Yeah.
Well, it's just when there's when
There's
the Lord
some-
calls you to bless, you'll know it. There's people you want to bless, and that's
Speaking of eating, are we going out to lunch this month?
we can.
Because I need to know whether to pull money out and balance that into my check.
Oh,
Where are you going this time?
it would be the 25th. Oh no, that's July. This is August. It would be the 29th.
Okay.
It's the last.
That's all, Joanne. That would be your birthday time.
Oh.
Should we do your birthday at lunch?
My birthday's on Sunday.
Yeah, we could do your birthday at lunch. So it would be the Friday before your birthday.
I don't mind.
No day older and deeper in debt.
Now or not.
The 29th. Let's put lunch at, I don't know where yet. Where did we go last time? Yeah.
Y'all went to, the Japanese place in Bethlehem?
No, that was our.
Okay, that was.
Now, where'd we go last time? I can't even think. It was somewhere I think that we all went before and liked it. Right? And we decided to go again. Where were we?
It was the Mexican place on 321.
Oh, was that where we were?
I think so, La Authentica or something like that. Wasn't that it?
No. She's talking about La Authentica on 321. No, we didn't go there. Yeah. But where did we
Time
go?
before that.
Yeah, we did, but I don't think we went there last time.
No, you're right, because I was gone by the time you did last time.
Can't we do something more?
Isn't that funny? I don't remember, but it was someplace that we liked, so we went again. Very impressed with. Oh, I think we went to no, we went to Longhorns.
Thank you.
Yeah, we went to Longhorns. That's where we went, and for lunch, and it was good. It was good.
I wasn't there.
Oh.
Probably.
Yeah, you were
Something was being offered.
fluffing out on us. Yeah, no, we went to Longhorns. That's right. Yeah.
Well, what do you like to eat?
Not Mexican.
Well, I know you don't like Mexican, but what else?
Oh, I like American food or Italian or Cracker Barrel or Applebee's or, you know.
Okay. Yeah. We can go to Cracker Barrel. I mean, they've got at least one thing on there that's good.
Oh my, only one? That's not good.
Yeah,
What's that place that everybody tells us about? It's down on going into Hildebrand where you sit in barrels, but if you have
yeah, the Gus.
they say that food is really, really good.
Gus. I took Beverly there. That's why I know.
Yeah.
It's Gus something.
I can't think of
Gus Amos. Amos or Gus.
Amos, I think.
Amos. Yeah.
I've been there, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, I took Beverly there. We sat in the barrel. I don't know if they have. Yeah, I guess they have a place where you could where everybody.
They
could
do.
sit.
They'll pull out. They were telling
They
me.
do, but it's limited seating
Yeah,
for larger groups. It's limited seating for larger groups.
Yeah, it's Amos something or another, right? I think.
It's on 320. It's on 70.
Right.
Don't go on a Wednesday night or a Wednesday afternoon.
No, it'd be on a Friday.
Yeah.
It would be on a Friday.
I'm good with anything.
All veggie.
What is that? BAEK Bake Kitchen. Have you heard of that?
Heard of what again?
BAEK Kitchen Bake Kitchen Bake. Yeah.
No.
Huh.
Trish,
Yeah.
across the street from
What's
salon, the salon where you work sometimes.
Huh?
What is that? What did the cupcake place? What is that place?
It's a little Mexican place, and we stopped in there, and I was getting excited because the lady said that she was from Riverside, and I'm like, oh well, if you're from Riverside, I go, if you lived in Riverside, I go, you know Mexican food, California, right?
Right.
Oh well, she hadn't lived there for
40 years.
until I think when she was little or something, and her husband was from where's her husband from? Her husband was from Venezuela or somewhere. Anyway, I tried their food. I got all excited and tried it, and then not so much.
Where's the place where they had that robot?
That's that's a Mexican place, La Authentica.
Yeah.
Mexican, yeah.
I know. I've never heard of some of these. Quizzy's Soul Food. Oh, it's in the mall.
Soul food.
Yeah. And then there's Fork, Fourk.
That's expensive.
Expensive and not very good.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That's
I like backstreets.
a little on the high side for people.
Jim and Nick's, Cranford Brothers Barbecue. Never heard of that.
There's that new one over, like on the same road as,
On 70?
no, where we went for, Japanese, and then it was, Kawasaki on the same road. There's a barbecue place. That's supposed to be pretty good. I'm not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll eat it. It's not my favorite. But
It's not, barbecue's not your favorite?
no, but I'll eat it. I mean, they always.
Bye.
Yeah. Bye. Oh,
Bye bye.
I hope you feel better, Deb.
Thanks.
I'll pray for you.
Ah,
Bubblies. That's Asian fusion. Bubblies? Yeah, Bubblys. Bubblies. Asian fusion. Hickory Ridge.
Amos Howard's.
Amos Howard's, yeah. Palm berries.
And it's Howard's has got the barrels.
Yeah, it's got the barrel.
Yeah, Wednesday night. You don't want to go Wednesday anytime because that's Wings Day. And I'm telling you, it's from the time they open to the time they close. It's
It's a bar too. So
it is.
Yeah, they get so yeah, we can go to I mean we can go to Cracker Barrel this time if you want to. We can also go to they've got Hickory Social House. I don't know if you've ever been there. Up here on 127. They're pretty good. Get a lot of stuff.
Oh, that used to be the bar.
Huh?
That used to be a bar.
Used to. Now it's separated. Yeah. Yeah, I go there with Elizabeth and Bryson and Doug. Bombin Ramen. Some of these places, I mean, I have never heard of them. I did eat at Da Vinci's one time. Oh my gosh, somebody ought to send those people to Italy.
Yeah, when they
Why?
first opened, they were fantastic. But then I don't know who took it over because it went downhill.
Oh man, their food, I'm like, dude, all you do is Italian. Really? You can't cook spaghetti? I mean, come
Yeah,
on.
It really
Wow.
went downhill, and it's expensive for going downhill.
Yeah.
All right.
Geez, if they're that bad, they could just get a couple of jars of sauce.
Hey, it would have been better.
Well, it was supposed to be all there, and like I said, when they first started, they all made their own pasta. This is really good. But I don't know what happened to them.
What about, does anybody ever been to Sunnyside?
Where's that at?
It's breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It looks, I mean, it's not a huge place, but their food looks really good.
Where is it located?
It's got a long counter. It is on 127.
Where on 127?
127. I think it's Mountain View. I think it's down 127. It is by. It's on 127 by ABC Store, Glenwood Commons. Dentistry of Mountain View. You know where Harris Farm Road is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's right past that.
We'll find it.
Well, just let us know where we're going.
But it's Sunnyside, and it looks cute. I got to remember to write all these things down so that.
It's on 127 and it's down in the Mountain View area.
Huh?
It's down in the Mountain View area.
Yeah, I think it's past where
It must be where the old Hannah's was.
when you go over 321, right? Isn't that Mountain View?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the area.
The the ladies have been trying to schedule this at church. Have been trying to schedule this swim at the Mooresville Quarry.
Yeah.
It's at Mooresville Quarry, and I've seen all the pictures. It's huge, right?
It is.
And they've had to reschedule it twice, and so now they have it on August 18th. $23.
$23.
Mm-hmm.
Then how much it costs to go in the park or something?
I think you get food too. But it's at Kerrigan Farms. But but the place is huge. But what's funny is,
Very good farm.
yeah, at quarries. And so Pastor Mike and Pastor Matt were teasing. They said, never, ladies are going swimming at a quarry. And then he's like, don't know what a quarry looks like or swim, but I don't want to go either. Good luck, ladies, everything. And then Pastor Matt's talking about, well, I don't want to scare anybody, but water moccasins like quarries. I think we saw one coming up the wall one time or something, and everybody's like, what? And he goes, well, I'm not going. Well, the men aren't going anyway, but it's like, oh, come on, guys. Yeah, they were,
Or is it just a big hole in the ground where they might?
yeah, but I could see where there would be,
Oh, yeah, there'd be snakes and stuff in there.
where there would be, but it's huge, and they've got rope swings, and they've got all kinds of stuff all over. You can see it. It's just from the air, it's just like one big pond. But yeah, it was like they were having fun, making fun.
I saw on TV, I like to look at the medical shows. And a woman came in, she was bitten by a snake. And she said it was a rattle. And this emergency room physician said, oh, we don't have too many of those around here. Well, it turns out it was a rattle. And by the time they had all discovered that, this woman's leg was like this.
Yeah.
And it took 16 or 17 vials of anti-venom to stop her from dying. That thing must have put so much venom.
Wow. See, that's the one snake we have in Arizona and in California is a rattlesnake.
We used to have a rattlesnake at my back patio door every morning.
Really?
Yeah, he'd curl up there and he'd look at me in the morning and I'd say, hi, have a good day. Every time I've been dead on the road, he had to cross the road.
Yeah, I mean the good thing about rattlers is they they give you warning.
Yeah.
They give you warning, and they're not. I've never seen one around where we lived or anything, but
We have copperheads more than rattlers. Lots of copperheads.
yeah, being new to North Carolina, one day I came out my front door up here, right, and there was a black snake from my door all the way down the length of the house,
Oh, yeah.
and its tail was hanging over the end of the porch, thing, and I was out. I walked out. I didn't see him at first because he was right up against the thing. And I walked out there, and I forget what I was doing. I was doing something. All of a sudden, I was like, "It's like."
Did you scare it?
But black snakes.
No. I took a picture of it.
Yeah. Black snakes you want around.
Probably a rat
Take
snake,
care of
isn't it?
rats and everything
Yeah.
else.
It was big.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
big, and
Yeah.
I'm not. As long as I know what it is, because when
Right.
I was young, I had a boa constrictor that
Oh, did?
I had for a pet. Yeah, I used to put him around my neck and take him to school.
I found a lady who had a boa, and she had had it a very long time. And all of a sudden, it started getting out of its thing, and at night, and it would go sleep in her son's bedroom. He was about 4.
Oh.
And he would lay down like this, and she was on a radio talk show, and the guy said, be careful, because he's sizing him up
Yeah.
to see if he can swallow
Yeah.
that. She
I
got
don't know.
the snake.
Yeah. Well, you just you want to make sure you feed them. I mean, I fed my. You have
Yeah.
to get them white mice. That's the only
Yeah.
hard thing. But I fed him, all the time. But that's before I was saved. So I hung out. I had biker friends, a lot of them. I mean, real biker. And these guys would come over like doghouse and
No.
yeah, huh? Yeah. But they would come over and
Play with the snake, right?
Bo, his name was Bo. What else do you name a Boa? But Bo would be out like underneath the couch. I'd have him out, I'd let him out during the day. So he'd be like on the couch. We'd be sitting there talking or something. All of a sudden, he'd come winding up somebody's leg or something. And those guys, oh Lord, it was so funny. They said, we're not coming back till you lock that thing up. I said, oh, come on. You guys are bikers, big old mean, bikers, and you don't like a little snake.
We had a snake. I mean, excuse me, a skunk. As you know, they take the stuff out with the skunk. Still kind of smells a little bit like that, but Oh, yeah, we had a skunk, a banshee rooster, and
Oh my. Yeah, I don't know that I'd want to have a skunk for a pet, but I
he
think,
actually was.
Oh, Lord, no.
Nice.
yeah, I think they
Very
bite.
playful.
They do.
The smell and the spray is enough.
Yeah, they took
Uh,
they de-skunked her, but
Yeah.
still.
We're going
The
to,
Sunnyside restaurant is where numerous different restaurants, that's in a mall by the library. It's been a bratwurst, it's been all kinds of different things. So I don't know anything about Sunnyside.
Huh. Yeah, it looks, I look, they had pictures of the inside and stuff. It looks real neat and clean and, big long counter and then all tables all over there. But I'll check it out sometime and maybe put it on our next one if it's any good. If it food's any good. I'm always looking for anything that's any good around here. So but
did you
cute.
ever run across a?
Bye, y'all. Have a great week.
Bye, honey.
Do you ever hear of a restaurant called Soup